Hey Joey, I just wanted to give you some feedback on 313. And I thought it'd be best to do it with video so I can show you what I wanted to clarify here. So the question was, does the get display value? So we're in the clock display project right now. It says, does the get display value method work correctly in all circumstances? What assumptions are made within it, and what happens if you create a number display with limit 800, for instance? And you put here, it would still work, but the minutes would count up to 60. So what I do is, if there's a way, like it's good to look through the code and make a conjecture about what's going on, but if there's a way to actually test out your answer, you should go ahead and try it out. So in this example, when it says what would happen if you create a number display with limit 800, we could actually do that, right? I mean, right now we can create a display. So the way that we set the limit for the number display is through this input parameter in the constructor, right? So in clock display, when we create the number displays in code, we pass either a 24 or a 60, and that gives us the upper limit, right? So we can also create number displays through the interface. I think that's the easier way to test it. And let's just create one and give it, well, let's start with 60, because that's what the minutes is, and look at that one for a second. So if we look at the code, it shows if value is less than 10, return a 0 plus a value for the display value. Otherwise, return just the value. Okay, so if we have if we set the value to 3, then our integer value, if we just do get value, our integer value is 3. We do get display value, we get 0, 3, right? Because it appended that 0 in front. That's what we wanted. If we give it a 47, then 47 is not less than 10, so it's just going to return an empty string concatenated with value. So it should just be a string that gives us the value. So let's look at that. If we say get, so if we say get value, it's 47, and get display value, it's the string 47. So that's great. So let's create one now with a rollover limit of 800 and see what happens. 800. So if we set the value to, let's do the same numbers. 3 again. We get, and we do a get value, it's the integer 3, and we do a get display value, it's the string 0, 3. And if we do, what would I do for 47? We have the value, integer value 47, and the display value is 47, right? Let's see, what happens if we go past the limit? When we say set value here, we only set the value if we have a valid, have a valid input, right? If the replacement value is less than the limit, right? So the limit, and actually the limit is this field that gets set to that rollover limit in the constructor. Okay, so whatever we entered for our rollover limit, that's the limit that we're going to use to test for our set value. So right now our value is 47 over here for this guy. This is the first one with a limit of 60. Let's see. Let's click in here. Yeah, here the limit is 60. Okay, so for this guy with the limit 60, if we try to, and right now his value is 47, if we try to set his value to like 78, should be nothing happens, right? Set value. So let's take a look. Get value. We're still at 47. We didn't change because the code said for set value, don't change the value unless, you know, we pass this test here, right? So let's try that with this guy. Oh wait, let me just, for completeness, look at the display value too. And the display value stayed the same, right? So for this guy, let's try saying set value 78. And look at what we have. And now his get value is 78 because we made a limit, we made a high limit, we made a limit of 800. And if we do the display value, we still get a display string that says 78, okay? Because for that, in this case, when we, for this, for the object, for the second number display object, we made a limit of 800, and 78 is still less than 800, so that worked. The one place where you kind of run into trouble is, notice that we set these up so that, well, right now we have a 2-digit string, right? And even if we set a value less than 10, if we made this be 5, we still get a display value with 2 digits because we added this code in to stick the 0 in front if the value is less than 10. But the thing is, if we made a limit of 800, so we could do something like set the value to 754, because that's still less than 800, right? So now we have a value of 754, and we have a display string now with 3 digits in it instead of 2. So that's really the main issue with these, is that it was kind of written in mind with 2 digits in mind, right? You'd either put a single 0 in front of it, or you'd leave it as is, meaning we're kind of expecting 2 digits, but it actually allows you to put in anything less than the limit. So if you put a limit that was bigger than 100, you know, and you can imagine different things you could do to restrict this limit, or to, you know, make the display different if the limit's higher or something like that. But that was really the main consideration for you know, if you had values greater than 800 or greater than 99, then you'd have to worry about you know, having 3 digits as opposed to 2.